comfort at this time.
Right.
In other words, that is the wide disparity between the different populations on this planet, which is what we must find a way to resolve, because no one's going away. The people who are here because they have a reason for being here, that they're going to take them and remove them, or they're going to do something with them. I mean, the final solution was Nazi Germany. And that didn't work, and it was a solution to just a segment of the population they didn't like. We got to reverse that. We got to find a way to live together as humans. That's what we're here to learn.
And that brings up an amen. I agreed with you there.
Amen. It involves huge differences in evolution of the soul, the mind, and even the body. We're not all one thing. Never will be, never have been, never will be, unless you have nothing but a bunch of clones. So how do we work around that? And that's what the Allied Command really needs to deal with. That we have such a diverse population for reasons that are lengthy to discuss, including the fact that many of them were just, many groups were planted here. They were seeded here. They didn't just, but there were souls that did emerge into existence on this planet, but they're just like outnumbered and overwhelmed by those who are immigrants who have come in since then. And we as a people must figure out how to resolve all this.
How to make everyone understand the other groups and the other levels at what they're at. Is that what you're bringing that to? So, because I mean, right now we're on this planet where people judge other people by not only their age, their education, their race, color, you name it. If you can't fit into one particular little group that this other group understands, well, then they can't communicate. Well, that's the big thing we've got to overcome as Homo sapiens on planet Earth. But we people, I think, like us, that I don't have any particular reserves against any particular denomination, you name it. But I don't like. I use the term the other. I don't like jerks, no matter what race, religion, creed, or color, or background, education, you name it. So the hard part is getting past that and getting to the point where we can all start to understand to the level that Christina was just talking about.
Right, and now in the narrative. Yeah, Ken, I agree. And I agree with everybody tonight. This is amazing, and I love that you keep using Allied Command, because that was important words to me, because they've been used historically, and then they do have, and everybody can look it up on the Internet, the European Allied Command, and then the Supreme Allied Command was used in Egypt, and there's actually, I can see the words over a building. So in my world travels, in country, out of country, in uniform, out of uniform, people say I have an advantage because I have the nomenclature like Ken does. He was a Marine and I was a Marine over in Kaneohe, but I was really Navy assigned to the Marines. But we have a military understanding, and we both took an oath of office. A lot of people don't trust government people anymore, but that's ridiculous, because people are people, whether we're in uniform, out of uniform, whether we're working civilian or under government contract. For a lot of people are retired now and getting checks that still come from the government or U.S. Treasury. So a lot of us are older now. So we still have to be loyal to the hand that you don't bite the hand that feeds you. And people are separating us any way they can, whether they're donkeys or elephants or non-either or whatever. But the point is don't let people separate us. But at the same time, we've got to talk about it because of all the stuff that's going on. And everything that's been said tonight is right on, except the fact that we need to do this more. I think communication is the key. And, where there's misinformation, disinformation, and information, but what we want to do is learn about each other at least at the level that have had extraterrestrial or UFO understanding. Why does that separate us from all the people that think we're nuts? And there's still a lot of them that do, although thanks to a lot of things and the change on the Earth and alien hunters and the ancient astronauts and the History Channel and sci-fi and all that, it's all getting better. We're getting better, but we're still at not where we need to be for the positive and the negative and the dark and the light and the dark matter and the light matter. And conscious thought is faster than the speed of light, and so now we're getting there in qualia, or quantum entanglement, or string theories, all the stuff you do in quantum mechanics, and so physics. It's all coming together, particles and waves. So it's all about words, how we're going to communicate, and how we're going to come together. But the point is that we do. And I'm going to have my daughter dying in the next week or two, which is really hard. She's only 45, but I decided to come on tonight. And every time I spend with her is precious, and I know that someday I'm going to regret. And Janet's thinking maybe I can get her to come on. I don't know. But there's all these things going on around us, even while we're right here, right now. Time's clicking away. And they say there's no such thing as time and space, and I agree. But some of the story that I have, Janet wants me to get down with her, and it's important for people that someday may be finding. We leave a path, we make our own path and leave a trail. So many of us here, hopefully with the Allied Command, the ACO, and we'll have events, we'll have fundraisers, we'll have groups, and we can do the same thing, hopefully, if we get the backing. But right now, it looks like Emery Smith, Corey Good, Laura Eisenhower, Michael Sala, all the people out on the west side of the coast, they have a lot better. And all the three people that are here right now are probably on the west side of the coast. I'm over here in Florida Panhandle, down here working with people that are just, they're awake, and they're working with metaphysics. But the metaphysical group is the only one coming out and starting to say, okay, TJ, come talk to us about, UFO stuff. So I don't know where it's going to go, but I appreciate all you guys showing up tonight. We've only got, good lands, 22 minutes left, Janet, so I'm going to turn it back over to you and Ken. Ken, you've done a great job tonight, considering we didn't know what we were going to talk about, right, Ken?
Quick question for you, TJ, and that is so that we don't wind up stepping on any of the other organizations as to how they identify themselves as far as being Allied Command or Supreme Allied Command or you name it. There's several different groups and organizations. Have you been able to define it down better to where we don't step on toes, but yet we know our position to fit in with all the other groups in the various countries in Europe and you name it? So there's a tremendous organization worldwide.
Well, all I've got is alliedcommand.org. Right now we're a domain name. That's all we are, is a domain name. My company, ACO, and I've filed federally, worldwide, ACO, in the government and for cotton products. But it's all illegal stuff, Ken. But as far as the ACO and the Allied Command Organization, the Ascension Center Organization, it was all about metaphysics. But I have the UFO Association.org. So what I'm doing is trying to concentrate. I've got so much money tied up in websites and domain names and projects and events, and Janet does too, that we're trying to get it. The government pretty much has it down on the Internet where everybody is responsible for their own social, their own Internet, IPC code, and their own cell phone. And now that mine are all combined together, it's confusing the crap out of all the algorithms, and they're trying to get me down to one phone when I got 5 in my name, and it's getting all confused with my grandson and my daughter, and I'm watching it on my phone, and I'm getting messages on my cell phone for all of them listed. I'm like, oh, my God. So it's crazy out there. But as we get the algorithms reading who we are, and, if we talk outside, all of a sudden you'll see commercials for this or that, and they match. But basically, as long as we keep the alliedcommand.org, I think it is, and I've got UFOassociation.org, and all the others I've got is companies or .coms, which are top level. Your top levels in the Internet or in the cyberspace are .com, .org, and .net. Those were the three. Now you can pretty much get everything because it went over to a different group. But I stay up on all the legalities on the Internet and open source. But basically, we're a free group that's using open source, and we're basically, because the world has set it up where all the people on the top are making the money inside corporate level as investors, is Google and Facebook are pretty much running the world right now. As far as the main browser is Google, and Facebook is the main social media. And all companies that you say you have to have a web presence as an individual business or individual entrepreneur, you have to have a web presence, but they also know you have to have social media. And even my kids, even though I was in the WordPress and publishing with GoDaddy for years and years and was affiliate and a reseller, my kids wouldn't even go through me or pay me the money. They went on free Facebook and they ran their companies. They're all entrepreneurs like me, so they all ran their companies direct on Facebook. But, we like to think we want software out there in our hardware. But now that the Internet's out there, the big thing is, are we going to keep AI separate from souls, or are we going to make the same Lemurian Atlantis mistake we always do, and that is let the AI take over? So right now people are not even sure anymore, because we've done this over and over, who's running the show? Are the souls or the AI? Are we just inside our own game that we created and they got tired of our biologicals and did away with us? Are we really these biologicals, or are we just thinking we're in a virtual reality and biological? Are we in the hologram, or is the hologram inside of us?
That's getting complicated.
It's a hard problem.
Or did we destroy our planet so that all we can do is exist in forms that are AI, in robotic forms? I mean, we're destroying our planet. We got to do something about that.
It's bigger than that. That's what I just said. Are we a hologram? Are we inside the hologram? I mean, it's right. Much more than the planet. It's all about the universal whole and the consciousness. And now, where I'm working with people at the scientific highest level is the consciousness overlay over the like we had the memory from the ETs, but we didn't have the right alloys, like element 115. We had 15, 16, 17, and 18. But Bob Lazar brought out 115, and they've already changed the name. It was like 2-protenium or something in the beginning. They've already changed the name on the scale. But seeing some of the ETs wouldn't let us have for space travel, and I was part of all that group back in the 80, 85 area, but they wouldn't let us have them. And see, that's still, it's alloy versus what's natural on the planet. So that's why we're having a little trouble right now with reverse technology and coming and going, is we can't get there from here unless they work with us, because some of the planets have some of the elements, and they become an alloy when you mix them together. So we're working on consciousness right now, in consciousness versus light speed. So we've always had faster than the speed of light. So that's where we're at on the higher levels of thought processing. But at the same time, they can't answer where they're getting the original because consciousness is not soul. So now everybody have to go listen to all the TED Talks on consciousness and get real up on what we really are. It's really, really deep. But it's getting fun because we've gotten ourselves into this pickle, below the quarks and the gluons and the tau. And now we know there's more than the beta, alpha, theta, delta, sigma, tau. They used to say there was only 5 levels of the brain. Now they know there's 7. And my husband and I knew that, and we used to say it for years, and they wouldn't listen. But once they got past beta, alpha, beta, alpha, theta, delta. Okay, beta, alpha, theta, delta, sigma. And I remember going to a neurologist when I was in a big car wreck, a big truck, and caught on fire. And he said, "You must have been super intelligent, because you're super intelligent now, but what's the deal? How do you know about these levels?" And I said, "I just know." He says, "But how do you know?" Because we didn't even know about it till the 5th. And he said, "I just had this, and I just graduated neurology." He was a neurologist. He was just amazed. And I said, "I just know." So that was the same thing I had in school. And we can talk about all these things in the future with people that come on, because we all have, like, something happened at 4, something happened at 7, something happened at 14, something happened at 21, 23, And I'm listening to Crysana talking, and I've heard that story over and over and over again. And there's various people that have had same things happen at certain times. Is that a coincidence? We don't know. So that's the mystery, is what are we really? Are we really just AI, or we really do have a soul? But right now, people that are putting the AI and the AGI, general intelligence, out there and everything we do, we're being recorded right now, but also everything's going into the computer, and it already knows everything, and they know what we're going to say before we say it. And I've been part of those in the parapsychological groups and how they could think. And I've been on those equipment on your brain.
You're going to have to come here to Berlin, because just outside of Los Lunas, Berlin, they're building the biggest giant computer machinery in the nation, probably in the world, right here in my own backyard. So it's amazing. The big brain is going to be right here. Not my brain.
I heard about that. But, this is all AI.
What's that for?
Go ahead.
What is that for? What is the big brain? What's the story they're telling the world about the big brain?
Well,
that they're building.
It's the building right outside of Los Lunas where we